How to get rid of stubborn belly fat quickly and easily. What's good YouTube? My name is Kosi, aka King Kosi, aka the Big G. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys exactly how to get rid of stubborn belly fat quickly and easily. Personally, I went through a phase in my life where I struggled with stubborn belly fat, struggled with love handles, and just generally unwanted belly fat around my stomach. And as soon as I discovered the right way to go about it, I lost the belly fat in under 4 months. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys exactly how I did it. I'm going to give you the blueprint. So forget all the ab exercises that you've seen on the internet or people have told you to do to lose belly fat. Forget all the complicated diets that you've been told that you need to be on to lose belly fat. Forget the tea that you drink, the green tea, the weight loss medication, whatever it is that you think that you need to do to lose fat. Forget all that and pay attention to exactly what I tell you in this video. And if you follow everything that I tell you in this video, you're going to be guaranteed to lose your belly fat very quickly. So first of all, I'm going to start by saying, in order for you to lose belly fat, all you need to do is reduce your body fat percentage. No ab exercise is going to target your belly fat directly. No diet is going to target your belly fat directly. So whoever's telling you that is not telling you the truth. Unfortunately, we cannot choose where exactly we want to lose fat. So we've got to lose fat in everywhere, generally. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you 5 easy steps that you can take to reduce your body fat quickly. And these are not complicated. These are very simple steps and they're guaranteed to get you a 6-pack very quickly. All you need to do is have a little bit of discipline and utilize the information that I'm going to give you in this video, and you're going to see results very quickly. Let's get straight into it. Number 1, start intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is when you eat your meals at a certain time frame during the day. So you have a window which you eat all your meals. So let's say you eat all your meals from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. or 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. or 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can do it however you want to do it. But what I would advise is that you have the bulk of your meal during the middle of the day when you're most active. So late morning to early evening. So what I do personally and what works for me is I skip breakfast and I start eating at 1 p.m. and I eat my last meal at 8 p.m. So I'm eating from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. And this is usually for most people the most active time of the day. So this is when you're out and about. This is when you're mostly at work. You're most likely not chilling from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. So why this is good for losing fat is because as you eat the food and you're active, you're gonna burn the calories from the food quicker. And then during the time of the day when you're most likely not gonna be as active, you're not gonna be eating anything. This way you can easily stay in a caloric deficit. And that's the key to losing fat. Just basically being in a caloric deficit. You wanna be using up more energy than you're taking in. In this case, taking in energy is taking in food, and using up energy is being active. So intermittent fasting really helps with this because there's only so much food you can consume at a certain time of the day, especially if it's the time of the day where you're most active. Even if you don't stick to the strictest of diets, even if your diet is not super clean, the fact that you're eating your food during the most active times of your day is going to ensure that you stay in a caloric deficit, because not only can you not eat much because you're eating at a certain time of the day, you have a time frame where you eat, you're also burning more calories because you're active. So you can kind of get away with not having the strictest of diets and still continuously lose fat when you're on this kind of program. Personally, my diet right now is not really the strictest. I kind of eat whatever I want. I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, I don't go crazy and just eat pizzas every day and eat ice cream and all sorts of unhealthy food every day. But I do have my cheat meals. Sometimes I have cheat days where I just eat that kind of food. My diet right now is not really the strictest. It's not really the most calorie restricted diet. But because I'm still doing the intermittent fasting, I don't eat anything until about 1 p.m. sometimes even 2 p.m. sometimes even 3 p.m. and I stop eating by 8 p.m. So I have a short window where I eat, and I don't have to track my calories overly to stay in shape. Even when I was overweight, before I lost the fat, I didn't have the strictest of diets. My diet back then was stricter than it is right now because I was trying to lose the fat, but I wasn't on a crazy strict diet. I was able to still eat foods that I enjoyed and I was still able to lose the belly fat. So if you want to enjoy your food, if you don't want to be on a very strict diet and you want to lose belly fat, I would advise that you follow this exact time frame of eating. Don't eat nothing until about 1 p.m. and eat your last meal about 8 p.m. If you want to push it, you can eat your first meal at 2 p.m. and finish up at 8 p.m. This way you would get the best results, I guarantee you. Another reason intermittent fasting is good for losing fat is because most of the energy that you use will be gotten from your fat directly, especially during the beginning of the day and the end of the day. Because remember, you're only eating in the middle of the day. So if you haven't eaten anything late at night, by the time you wake up, there's no food in your stomach. So most of that time where there's no food in your stomach, your body is just burning fat directly for energy. So the more active you are during that time where you're not eating anything, the more fat you burn. Personally, I go to the gym fasted. So I don't break my fast until about 1 p.m., 2 p.m. during the day. I go to the gym about 12 p.m. So I do cardio and I lift weights on an empty stomach. So that helped me to burn the fat very, very quickly. So I would advise that you get as active as you can during that time when there's no food in your stomach. That's when you can burn the most fat. That's when the magic happens. So if you can't go to the gym during that time, that would be absolutely great for losing fat very quickly. Now I know not everybody can go to the gym late morning or early afternoon like I do. So if you can't do that, what I would advise you to do is you can go for a morning walk. You could walk to your office. If you need to go to work, you can walk there. If you need to go get groceries in the morning, you can walk there. Just try and be as active as you can. You could, if you need to drop your kids at school in the morning, you can walk there. Or if the place is too far for you to walk there directly from your house, you can park your car somewhere that's far and just walk there. Just give yourself the opportunity to be as active as you can during that time frame where there's no food in your stomach. That way you can get the best results. And this ties into my second point, which is the only cardio you need is walking. A lot of people make the mistake of doing excessive cardio when they want to lose belly fat or when they want to lose fat in general, like skipping, running. I see people running every time. I wake up in the morning, I see people running on the treadmill in the gym. I see people running even at night. Every time I see people running, especially when they're overweight, it just makes me want to just go and talk to them and tell them to stop what they're doing, because it's not really the best way to go about it when you're trying to lose fat. Really and truly, the only thing you need to do is just walk more. It's more sustainable, so you can do it long term. It's easy on your joints, it's easy on your muscles. And what a lot of people don't know is when you do high intensity cardio, like sprinting and running and skipping and burpees and all that sort of stuff, you're burning glucose for energy. But when you just walk, especially when you walk on an incline, on a treadmill, you're burning fat directly for energy because you're doing zone 2 cardio. And that's what happens when you do zone 2 cardio. You burn fat directly for energy. When you do high intensity cardio, you're burning glucose for energy. So I always advise people to just walk. All you need to do is walk on the treadmill. Go in the gym and put the treadmill on the incline and just walk for about 20 minutes at least. You can do 30 minutes, you can do 40 minutes if you want to go longer, but do at least 20 minutes of steady state cardio 5 days a week. That will give you the best results when it comes to losing fat. Because like I said, it's very sustainable, so you're not going to get burnt out eventually like you would do if you keep running every day. You can do HIIT cardio every now and then. I'm not saying don't ever do HIIT cardio. If you like to go for a run, if you like to sprint, you can do that every now and then. If you like to jump rope, you could do it every now and then. That's fine. It's not a bad thing. All I'm saying is you want to make the majority of your cardio during the week steady state cardio. I would advise you just go on the treadmill. Like I said, put the treadmill on the incline at 15. That's usually the highest cap for most treadmills and gyms. And just walk at a speed of 3 or 3.5 or 4. That's usually the sweet spot. That's usually what will keep you in zone 2 cardio. And this is the best kind of cardio to lose fat. When I started doing this, I was losing fat very, very quickly. It works like magic and it's so easy to do. I wish I started doing this a long time ago. And then aside from the incline walk on the treadmill 5 days a week, I would make sure that I take at least 10,000 steps a day. I would track my steps with my Apple Watch and I would make sure that every day I would get at least 10,000 steps a day. When I made sure that I hit at least 10,000 steps a day every day, I saw that I got the best results. There's no way anyone can hit 10,000 steps a day every day and not be moderately active. So I would advise everyone that's trying to lose weight, if you're trying to lose belly fat, I would advise that you make sure that you hit at least 10,000 steps a day. You can track this with your watch, with your phone. There's many devices you can track this with these days. So just make sure that you hit that threshold. Hit 10,000 steps a day, and you will see that you will start to lose fat very, very quickly. Because like I said, when you hit 10,000 steps a day, you're gonna be active. You can't be living a sedentary life and hit 10,000 steps a day. And it's also very doable. It's not a crazy amount of numbers to hit. It's not 20,000. 20,000 steps a day will be difficult to do for most people. But 10,000 steps a day is not easy, but it's very doable. It's not very difficult. So anyone can hit 10,000 steps a day. So if you manage to get 10,000 steps a day every day, in less than 3 weeks, you start to see a significant difference in your physique. The belly fat will be dropping very, very quickly. All you need to do is just walk more. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, if you need to go somewhere, just walk there. If you have to drive there, you can park your car a bit further than your destination is, so you can have a distance to walk. If you're trying to go to the gym, you don't have to drive to the gym. If the gym is a walking distance, you can walk there. If you're trying to drop your kids off at school, you can walk them there. If you're trying to go get some groceries, you can walk there. You got a meeting, you can walk there. There's ways you can go about it. Just make sure that you're walking every opportunity that you have. Another thing I like to do is whenever I'm sitting down and doing something, whether I'm working or watching TV or even playing video games, I'll just stand up. And I notice when I get on my feet, I'm forced to pace around or walk to somewhere, even if I'm still in the house. If you get on your feet, you're gonna be forced to take more steps. So even when you're chilling in your house, you can still take steps. All you need to do is get on your feet. Just stand up. You don't need to be on your ass all the time. Standing up is good. It would help you to burn a lot of fat. Another thing you could do is you can get a walking pad. If you're someone that works from home or you're in a situation where you don't have to leave your house very much, you can get a walking pad and just get on your walking pad and just walk most of the day. You can get 10,000 steps and even more with a walking pad in your house. So just try your best to walk more. Walking is the most underrated form of movement when it comes to losing fat. It's sustainable, it's a natural movement, it's very easy to do, and everyone can do it. You can do it everywhere. It's free to walk. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to have a gym membership to walk. Just by walking, you can lose a good amount of fat, even if you don't go to the gym. So walking is the only form of cardio that you need to do. Like I said, you can do other forms of cardio, you can do HIIT cardio, but you want to make sure that most of the cardio that you do is walking. Just walk more, and that would help you to lose a lot of fat. And then the third thing that you need to do is build more muscle. Muscle and fat do not coexist. So the more muscle you build, the less fat you have. So if you're trying to lose belly fat, you need to build more muscle. And don't just focus on building muscle on your belly alone because you want to lose belly fat. You want to focus on building muscle everywhere in general. So you want to build muscle on your legs, build muscle on your chest, your back. Build as much muscle as you can all over your body. That way you would have less body fat. I see a lot of people, especially people that are skinny fat. There's people that don't have a lot of fat around their limbs, like their arms and their chest and their legs, but they've got fat on their stomach. So I see people like that doing like ab crunches all the time and trying to build abs alone, trying to focus on building muscle on their belly so they could get rid of the fat. But that's the wrong way to go about it. You need to focus on building muscle all over your body. And the best way to do that is to focus on compound exercises. These are exercises that could build different muscle groups at the same time. So your squats, your bench press, or any kind of presses, your deadlifts, your pull-ups, your dips. You want to focus on doing these kind of exercises in the gym because these are exercises that would make you stronger, help you build the most muscle all around your body, and increase your testosterone, which is going to help you build as much muscle as you can. So just focus on compound exercises. I used to train very differently from the way that I train right now. Back then, I used to do a lot of isometric exercises. So I'll try to target every muscle group individually. I didn't used to do a lot of compound exercises. So it was not until I started to do compound exercises that I saw that my body fat percentage was going down very, very quickly. And I was building more muscle. The more muscle you build, the less fat you burn. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. I noticed that some women, sometimes they don't want to focus on doing compound exercises, or they don't want to build too much muscle because they don't want to look stocky or look like a man. But really and truly, if you're not taking any steroids as a woman, you're not really going to have that kind of look. It's unnatural for you to build that kind of physique without taking any steroids or taking any enhancement. So even if you're a woman, you don't have to worry about looking stocky or building too much muscle, because you're naturally incapable of building too much muscle. So just focus on building as much muscle as you can naturally. And if you build as much muscle as you can naturally, you would have less fat. It's inevitable. So the more muscle you can build, the less fat you're gonna have. You wanna have a set training routine as well. Don't just go to the gym and just do whatever you feel like doing, because that way you're not targeting every muscle group at least 2 times a week. And that's the best way to build muscle. To train every muscle group on your body at least 2 times a week. That way you can get the best results when it comes to hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is basically building muscle. So if you want to build as much muscle as you can and not overwork your muscles, then you need to train them at least 2 times a week. You could either not do enough or do too much. When you're training each muscle group 3 times a week, 4 times a week, then you're doing too much and you're not giving your muscle enough room to grow. Because remember, when you're in the gym, you're not building muscle in the gym. Some people make that mistake and think they're building muscle in the gym. So they want to go to the gym as much as they can or work out as much as they can. What you're doing is burning out your muscles, and you might even lose muscle that way. So you don't want to do too much, and you don't want to do not enough as well. So make sure that you train each muscle group at least 2 times a week. So you want to train your chest muscles at least 2 times a week, train your biceps at least 2 times a week, train your core at least 2 times a week, train every muscle group at least 2 times a week. That way you will have the best results when it comes to muscle growth. And you can't do this if you don't have a set routine. So people that go to the gym and they just do whatever they want to do, they usually don't train every muscle group at least 2 times a week, because you're not keeping track of what you've done so far in the week. So you might end up doing one muscle group more than 2 times a week because that's what you like to do. So there's an imbalance. So you need to have a set training routine. What I like to do is push-pull legs. You can do push-pull legs. You can do upper body, lower body. There's different training routines that you can go by, but make sure you have a routine and train each muscle groups at least 2 times a week, and focus on doing compound exercises as well. Remember, compound exercises would help you to build several muscle groups at a time. So usually you don't have to be in the gym too much if you just focus on doing compound exercises. You can train each muscle group twice a week and not be in the gym 6 days a week. I go to the gym only 4 or 3 days a week, and I manage to train each muscle group at least 2 times a week because I focus on compound exercises. I know exactly what I'm going there to do, and I go there to do that. So not only are compound exercises the best way to build more muscle, they're also very good to make sure that you train every muscle group at least 2 times a week without spending a lot of time in the gym. I don't like to stay in the gym for more than an hour, and I get a good workout in the gym because I just do compound exercises. I'm able to challenge all my muscle groups and train them 2 times a week because I can save my time by doing compound exercises. So I'd advise that you focus on compound exercises and train each muscle group at least 2 times a week. That way you can get the best results when it comes to building muscle and get rid of a lot of fat and get rid of stubborn belly fat. Especially, you don't even have to train abs when you focus on doing compound exercises, because compound exercises usually target your core, and that's basically your abs. I don't do ab exercises very often, and I've got a great 6-pack. So you don't really have to train abs when you're doing compound exercises because they target your core. When you're doing squats, you're targeting your core, especially if you're pushing yourself with weights. If you're doing heavy weight, not just light weight. If you're doing heavy weight, you're going to be targeting your core with squats. If you're doing heavy weight with bench presses, you're going to be targeting your core. If you're doing heavy weight with pull-ups, with dips, with deadlifts, you're going to be targeting your core, because in order to do most compound exercises, you need to brace your core. You need to tense your core. So you have to have a strong core to do most compound exercises. So that's another good thing about doing compound exercises. You don't even have to do unnecessary ab exercises, which will make you spend a lot of time in the gym. You could just train with compound exercises and have a 6-pack. I don't do ab exercises. The most I do is leg raises, and I do that once every 2-3 weeks, and I still have abs. So focus on doing compound exercises and have a set training routine. That will help you build as much muscle as you can. And that leads me to my 4th point, which is to have a high protein diet. Protein is very essential when it comes to losing fat, because protein is the building blocks of muscle. And as we established earlier, the more muscle you have, the less fat you have. So if you want to build muscle and lose fat, you have to have a high protein diet. You want to aim to eat at least 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So for instance, if you weigh 50 kilos, you want to eat at least 100 grams of protein. That would ensure that you have enough protein in your system to be able to help your muscles to grow. What I advise people to do is to just make sure that the majority of their diet is high in protein. So if you don't want to track the amount of protein that you eat, personally, I don't like to track my food. I like to be able to just eat food without having to do too much mathematics before I eat my food. So I don't like to track my food. So I tell people, just eat as much protein as you can. What I do is I just make a whole bunch of chicken, make a whole bunch of steak bites. Steak bites are little steak cubes. You can get them in the grocery store, and I just fry them in the air fryer, and just keep them in the fridge, and I eat them whenever I want. I got rid of all my snacks, all my cake, all my crisps, all that kind of stuff that is high in carbs and processed sugars. You don't want to be eating all that. You just want to eat mostly protein. Eggs, chicken, steak, fish, whatever kind of protein that you like. But just make sure that your diet is high in protein. Protein is very good for losing weight. It not only helps you to build muscle, your body also uses more energy to digest protein than it does to digest other food groups like carbs and sugars. So when you're eating protein, your body is working overtime to digest the protein. So just having a high protein diet will make you burn more fat than usual because your body uses more energy to digest protein. So eat as much protein as you can. You can still eat other food groups. I'm not saying be on a keto diet or a carnivore diet. You can eat carbs, you can eat sugars, you can eat fats, you can eat other food groups, but you want to make sure that you have a high protein diet. This will help you to burn more fat and build more muscle. Protein also helps to keep you full. So when you eat protein, you're gonna feel a lot fuller than you would compared to when you eat carbs or sugars and other food groups. So not only would you be burning more energy digesting the protein, you also wouldn't eat much because it gives you a satiating feeling. When you eat a lot of protein, it gives you a full feeling. So by default, you're not gonna have the appetite to eat very much because you're gonna be full, especially when you eat the protein. I'm not against protein shakes and protein powder and drinking protein in general, but I would advise that you eat most of your protein because when you chew the protein, especially meat, chicken, fish, any kind of protein that you eat will give you that satiating feeling. It will make you feel very full. So you need to have a high protein diet if you want to lose belly fat quickly. Another thing I would advise you to do is to drink a lot of water. Water is another thing that would help you to tame your appetite and would help you to feel full as well. So drink as much water as you can. You want to drink at least 4 liters of water every day, especially during the time when you're fasting. Remember I mentioned intermittent fasting. That was the first point. So during that time frame when you're not eating anything, water is what will keep you going because it will stop you from feeling hungry. It will stop you from having that hungry feeling, which would make you probably want to go and eat. So I would advise when you're fasting, when you're in your time frame when you're not supposed to eat anything because you're doing intermittent fasting, I would say drink as much water as you can. That will keep you full. A lot of the times when, as human beings, when we think that we're hungry, we're really just thirsty. So I would advise that you drink as much water as you can. It's very beneficial for weight loss. It also gets rid of bloating. When you drink a lot of water, your body gets rid of excessive water weight. So it will stop you from having that bloated feeling. Sometimes you think you have a big belly, but it's really just bloating. You're really just bloated most of the time because you're dehydrated. When you're dehydrated, your body holds on to water weight. So it's in survival mode. It keeps all the water it can keep because you're not giving it enough water. So the more water you drink, the more water your body gets rid of. So drink as much water as you can and have a high protein diet. This will guarantee you the best results and the quickest results when it comes to weight loss. And the final step is to prioritize recovery and sleep. You need to treat your body as a machine, and every machine needs to be refilled regularly for it to function properly. So you don't want to overwork yourself in the gym, and you also need to prioritize sleep. You build muscle and you burn fat whilst you're sleeping because your body produces all the necessary hormones that it needs to burn fat and build muscle whilst you're sleeping. So treat your body like a machine. You need to give it time to refuel. If you don't give it time to refuel, if you don't refuel it enough, then it's going to deteriorate over time and you're not going to see good progress because your body is just going to be incapable of getting you to the point where you want to get to. That's why a lot of people do all the right things and they don't see any results because you're not prioritizing rest. You're overworking yourself. You're not sleeping enough. If you go to the gym, do everything right, do intermittent fasting, lift heavy in the gym, and drink a lot of water, and you're sleeping 4 hours a night, you're not going to have good results because your body is not rested enough to be able to respond properly to the work that you're putting in. So you need to prioritize sleep. I advise people to sleep at least 7 to 8 hours a night. If you can't get 8 hours, get at least 7 hours. That way you're able to recover the best way you can. So when you wake up in the morning, you feel sharp, you feel energized, you can think properly, you're able to train properly, you're able to do your cardio, take your steps properly, do everything that you need to do to put yourself on a good path to progress. So you need to be intentional with your sleep. You need to plan for your sleep. You don't want to eat anything 3 hours before your bedtime because when your body's digesting food whilst you're sleeping, you're not going to have the best sleep. It's going to interfere with your sleep. So make sure that you don't eat anything 3 hours before your bedtime. And if you're doing intermittent fasting and you're sticking to the time that I mentioned earlier, which is from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., then you wouldn't be eating 3 hours before your bedtime anyway. Because if you eat your last meal at 8 p.m. and you're asleep at 11 p.m., then you're going to have good sleep because your body's not digesting any food. So that's a good program to follow. You also don't want to be drinking any water at least 2 hours before your bedtime because that would interfere with your sleep. You're going to wake up and want to pee when you've got water in your system. So drink as much water as you can during the day. From the moment you wake up, you can drink as much water as you can, but as soon as the day is coming to an end, you want to reduce your intake of water because it would interfere with your sleep. It's annoying when you wake up in the night because you have to go to pee. Sometimes, especially me, I wake up in the night and I go and pee and then I come back to bed and I can't sleep anymore. So I try not to drink any drop of water at least 2 hours before my bedtime. I drink the majority of my water at the beginning of the day. So don't eat 3 hours before your bedtime. Don't drink water 2 hours before your bedtime. And don't expose your eyes to blue light rays at least 1 hour before your bedtime. Blue light rays are the light that comes out of our phone screen, TV screen, laptop screen, and all our devices. These lights make our body to stay awake because our body responds to them the same way that our body responds to sunlight. So the same way that your body stays awake when it sees sunlight is the same way that your body stays awake when it gets blue light rays. So you don't want to be on your phone when you're getting ready to sleep. Make sure you put your devices away, turn the TV off, make sure the room is dark. That way your body could unwind and get ready for a good night's sleep. You can also take supplements that would help you to have a good night's sleep, like magnesium, melatonin, ashwagandha. Personally, I take magnesium with my last meal. So about 3 hours before I go to bed, I take magnesium. And I noticed since I started taking magnesium, it's improved my sleep quality. So make sure you try to get at least 7 hours of sleep every night. That way your body could produce all the hormones that it needs to burn fat and to build muscle. And you could also operate at your optimal self the next day. Your hunger hormones will be in check. Your energy will be good. You won't feel too hungry all the time. Your energy levels will be high. When you don't sleep enough, your hunger hormones will be across the roof. You want to eat every chance you get. It's going to be hard to do intermittent fasting if you don't get enough sleep, because when you don't get enough sleep, you want to eat more. That's just the way the human body works. So you want to make sure you get as much sleep as you can get and prioritize recovery. Don't overtrain in the gym. Focus on compound exercises so that way you can hit every muscle group 2 times a week and still not spend too much time in the gym. This would help you to build muscle and lose fat very quickly. So these 5 steps are literally the blueprint to get rid of stubborn belly fat. All you need to do is have a little bit of discipline and follow these 5 steps that I've given to you, and you will see your belly fat disappear very quickly. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to leave a like if you found this helpful. Share the video to anyone that you feel will benefit from this information. Subscribe to get updates on the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to ask me questions about your fitness in the comment section. I'm always available to answer, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.